What up?
Yes, sir. What's going down, man?
How's it going?
Uh, had a long day, but I'm
Long
here
day,
now.
long day. Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome,
man.
my man Drew. We're gonna talk a little now. I know I know who Drew thinks is gonna win,
Mhm.
but I want to hear him talk about it. Um, so let's start off a little bit. Let's start off with this: Is the height difference and the body frame difference gonna be a real factor?
Yes, it's going to be a factor. Um, I didn't know it was that noticeable until I saw it with my own two eyes.
Right,
And
right.
when
You were there. That's right.
yeah, I was there. And if you look at my video, you hear me say, "Oh shit!"
Right.
I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait." It looked like an 18-year-old about to fight a 15-year-old. The baddest 15-year-old on the schoolyard is now about to face the high school kid about to go to college.
That's what I heard. Bomac told me. Now, of course, he has an agenda, but he did say, and I heard this from a couple other people. Spence in New York was wearing a heel, which might have given him half inch to an inch. Now,
No,
does it really make a difference, 1 inch here or there?
no. Well, let me say this. Let me say this. First of all, let me go on record by saying this. Bud is a bad mofo. Bud is a bad mofo. If you say that Bud can't fight, you're a hater.
Yeah.
Because that's an absolute lie.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's intrigue to this fight.
Right.
Bud is a bad mofo. He is. He is. With that being said, so is Errol.
Yes.
And the only thing that I could think of, but I think this is going to end more violently. You remember how Rigondeaux's a bad mofo, but then he had to go up 2 weight classes to face Lomachenko?
Yes.
Size mattered.
Yeah.
Size mattered. Lomachenko, if Rigo was the same size as Loma, the fight wouldn't have went down like that. And again, I didn't realize the difference because I was at that fight. It was at the theater. And I'm screaming, "Let's go at your cow." And he walks right past my row. He's this fucking big.
Yeah, they're short.
And I look down, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I did not realize he was that small. I read it, but I didn't realize that was the first time I saw him. And I said, what the hell, man? And then I saw Loma come out the other side of the theater, and he was about 147 when he fought
Right.
Rigo. And then when they got into the ring, you realize, I'll give you another situation where size mattered. It sounded good on paper when Oscar De La Hoya signed to fight Bernard Hopkins. It sounded good. And then when you saw the stare down when they got into the ring, I was like, oh, shit.
I never liked that fight. I was like, De La Hoya is too small. I don't know what Hopkins. I don't know how he's making this weight, but yeah.
But how did they sell that first? They sold it that Oscar was going to be on his toes, stick and move, right?
Right.
And Bernard was going to make it a dirty fight.
Right. So,
and yeah, go ahead.
No, so here's something. I got the comment here by BX. I'm assuming from your borough. Bud is strong as hell. You guys forgot he comes from a wrestling pedigree. Don't be surprised if he's stronger one in there. Now, I don't know about that, but I was talking today with Richard Torres, up and coming heavyweight. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Mustache.
From the Olympics. He like a circus strongman.
Yes. Olympic silver medalist.
He's very game. I like him.
Smart kid, humble.
Yeah. Yes.
Good kid. He's wrestled around with Bud. And he told me a story. Now, mind you, Bud's 5'8", 5'9", 150 pounds. Richard Torres, 240, 6'2". And he said Bud strength, like he locked him up. Now, he doesn't have a wrestling background, Richard, but he said Bud locked him up. He said the strength is real. I've spoken to a couple other people that said the strength is real. Shushu Carrington, same thing. Yeah. He said, but so what I was going to say is this. Size matters only if you know how to use it.
Correct.
Because I've been in there plenty, people don't realize that. There is no answer to size mattering, yes or no. It matters only if you know how to use it, or it doesn't matter. Now, I think in this case, which is why I started leaning a little towards Spence, I think Spence uses his size, uses his strength to his advantages very well. So having a bigger man, a bigger, taller, but also frame-wise bigger man coming at you, and the thing with Spence, which I've heard numerous times, is he's like a locomotive. His power punches are just as strong and just as hard and just as consistent from round 1 to round 12. And that breaks people down. So I'm still really torn. But Spence seems to have a slight advantage now to me, but I still don't know.
Wrestlers don't like getting punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
You know where you learned that?
Mm.
You learned that when you first watched UFC. If a wrestler is on his back, that means he's losing. When a wrestler first fought a guy that's an expert at jiu-jitsu, they didn't understand what was happening until they were getting caught in a triangle choke.
Right.
I'm making that point to say this. Bud is strong. You got to have some sort of strength when you're wrestling there. It's a powerful sport. I've wrestled, but it really doesn't matter when you get punched in the face. Now, case in point, Green Machine dropped him. They blew the call, but Green Machine dropped him. He dropped him.
It's Me Machine. That's just your nickname, right?
Green Machine.
Yeah, you threw me off for a second. I'm like, I forget the right name. All right, I got you.
Yeah, he dropped him. They didn't call it, but I said, ooh.
What's the other fighter that wobbled him? Was it
Gamboa?
Oh, Gamboa.
Gamboa came up in weight to fight Bud.
Yeah.
And Gamboa is a solid puncher. From what I understand, Green Machine is I guess he's pretty solid, but there were things that I saw. Now, I remember when Bud and Errol met up, and Errol kept saying, yo, you too small. And back then, you couldn't see it. I was like, what do you mean by he too small? Maybe he just means because, yo, you really 135-pounder. But the other 2 Mondays ago, that was the first time I saw it. And I said, ooh, man. Now, don't get it twisted. Bud is a killer, but Errol's just a bigger killer. And you can tell by the damage he's inflicting on guys his size.
Right. Yeah. He's fucking people up. I agreed. It's just so hard to tell because, you look at opponents in common, and that maybe leans a little more towards Bud, but it's so hard to tell, man. It's so hard to tell. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. These guys' will is ironclad, both of them. I don't see, somebody might get stopped. That's possible. But I don't see somebody getting knocked out where they can't continue. I don't see that.
I think that there's going to be a stoppage. I'm picking Errol for the stoppage. And this is no shade to Bud. I like Bud. This is no shade. I always pick Errol to win, but when I saw those brothers face to face, I said, man, this ain't good. Bud, keys to victory, he's gonna have to box. Do not get into a gunfight with Errol. Don't do that. I know he said he was gonna do that, but then when I spoke to Bomac, he's picking Bud to stop Errol.
Yeah,
between 9 and 11.
He told me that too. He told me 11, right. I think.
So he's planning on taking Errol to deep waters and drowning him. But here's the thing. I've never seen Errol get gassed.
No.
Errol could take a shot.
No.
And, people could say, oh, well, he hasn't got hit by Bud. I'm looking at the knockout ratio, and it's pretty high. However,
it's almost identical, the two.
Yeah. I think Errol takes a better punch than Bud, and Errol's more natural at 147. In fact, he's sick of 147. He needs to go to 154.
He is more natural. Yeah.
Bud just got to 147. I really don't like to compare the resumes because it's a losing argument for Bud. And again, this is no disrespect to him. He just got to 147, man.
Right. Right.
The Sean Porter fight, Sean admitted he didn't train for Bud like how he trained for Errol. He said that. He said that. And I mean, come on, man. And skill set for skill set, look, you can talk about how Bud switches up right at the southpaw. It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. I mean, it sounds sexy to the people that don't know any better, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Well, it means nothing if it wasn't prepared for. Like, so if
I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Spence doesn't prepare for it, which I don't see him not preparing for.
And I was about to say, Derek James says it doesn't matter. He told me, so that tells me that they prepared for all of that.
Oh, he actually got annoyed at the question when I was like, "So what do you think about switch hitting?"
Yeah,
he was like, that's some dumb shit. I hate when
some
people
dumb shit.
Yeah, he thinks it doesn't matter. Now, I don't fully agree with that. I think it does mean something. Because at bare minimum, it gives you an extra layer to your arsenal. That doesn't mean it's going to be the game changer, but it does mean something. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not. It's going to swing the pendulum one way or another, but it means something. So it seemed like it was just more of an aggravating question because that's all people probably ask him all the time because that's like the one thing that makes Bud so different.
If Bud has to switch from righty to southpaw, that must mean when he's fighting conventional, something's not working. You know, it's really not going to help against Errol. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts. But I didn't tell Bomac because I got the sense that Bomac thinks everyone's dumping on him and things of that nature.
Oh yeah. He's very yeah.
So I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
people do shit on him a lot.
Yeah, they do. They do.
No, they do. You know, put up pictures of potato chip bags and you know.
Yeah, I mean they do that. So I didn't want to mention that to him, but I get the gist that Errol is how can I say it? It's like when you got the old Windows for your computer from 2 years ago and you got the latest version of Windows. And it's like the old one from 2 years ago works, but this one is that much better. I mean, this is the comparison. I'm not shitting on Bud. I just got Errol winning. I don't think this, and I did tell Derek James this. I said, man, everyone's picking late and decisions. To me, and this is just me, and again, disclaimer, this is boxing. Bud can go in there and wash Errol fast for all we know.
Right.
I'm just telling you what I picked. And to me, this guy had Hagler Hearns written all over it.
You know, I don't agree with that. You know why? Because Hagler and Hearns, in a lot of ways, threw caution to the wind and started banging. Like, I've talked to Hearns, and he said, he's like, I was going to box, but when this guy jumped on me, instinct took over. I don't see these guys by any means just banging out like that. I don't see it. I'd be so surprised if it just ding, 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 they start wailing on each other like that. Because you remember Hagler Hearns, there was almost no technical, like
Tommy goofed up.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did that.
So I don't see either of those fighters losing kind of the cool about them and just banging it out. I don't see it. You do?
Bud will be doing himself a disservice to who people claim he is as a boxer. What he needs to do, because Errol's the bigger guy. We know that. We've seen that. To me, as strong as Bud is, again, this is the 15-year-old versus the 18-year-old. The really tough 15-year-old versus the 18-year-old. You know, it's not going to work out. You know, I have an older brother, and I was always big. And now I'm a little taller than him, but he has what I call retard strength. I mean, I'll wrestle him today. He'll just pick me up and start running around the room. I'm like, yeah, how are you doing this? You know, but, you know, he's 5 years older than me. You know, so it's like as tough as I was with my friends, I'm throwing their ass around. I come home and he's throwing me around.
Right.
You understand? So I think this is one of those situations. Bud has to show people who he is as a boxer.
Right.
Because if he stays on the outside, he might be able, because Bud, although he's small in stature, he has a really good reach.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah, yeah. And if he could, he might be able to outbox Errol and steal some rounds. Now, outboxing Errol again, that might be something that's a tough task too, because Mikey Garcia thought he could do that, and Errol boxed with him, and he outboxed him.
Yes, but talk about a size advantage. I mean, shit.
Yeah. And now Mikey's that size advantage. That's not Bud. Bud's bigger than Mikey, but I haven't seen Bud fight off the back foot, and I've seen him hurt by smaller guys, and I'm just looking at it from what I deem as logical.
Right.
I'm not in here, shitting on Bud and like that. I'm just giving you I'm trying to give you an educated opinion on what I think might happen.
Right.
And if it goes 12, it goes 12. I think Errol's going to stop this dude by like the 6. It's not going to play out. You're going to see Bud trying to do certain things, and by like round 3, I don't know. I don't know. I think Errol's going to hurt him.
I think, the problem with this fight is a lot of people bring up things that maybe don't have much to do with this fight in their past. Like, for example, there's a rumor or there's a conception that Spence doesn't have a good chin because of the couple times he got hit. He looked for his mouthpiece, and we found out later. And even at the time, I'm like, that's just weird. What is he doing? That, he lost his teeth from the car accident. He was insecure about having his teeth fall out because he felt like that'd be mad embarrassing. His teeth just falling out of
people are bringing up
that was looked at as he has a weak chin and he panicked, which wasn't the case.
I mean, people are bringing up the car accident.
Right.
All right. He flipped the car and then fought Danny Garcia. And I thought he was bugging with that. I said, wait a minute. Why are you going to fight Danny? Danny could literally take your head off.
The body to me, the two don't, like Vinny Pazienza broke his neck and came back.
So, I mean, look, we could stop talking about, we could stop talking about the goddamn car accident now. It's irrelevant. We can't talk about is how he didn't feel confident enough. He was insecure about his new all his teeth. I think he got all new teeth.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, and that's all he did. Yeah. And when Ugas said, when he spit his mouthpiece out, it's because the mouthpiece didn't fit around the new goddamn fronts he had.
Right, and then even Garcia. It happened with Garcia too. Mouthpiece went out, he stopped, he looked, he got hit.
Yeah, he thought his teeth came out.
Right. So that's what that was, and I assume that won't be, because if he makes that mistake with Bud, that won't be good. But I don't think he'll do that with Bud. I think that's maybe something of the past at this point. So Spence does have a good chin. Bud's chin, I guess he got wobbled a couple times, but honestly, the best fighters with the greatest chins in history have been wobbled. So I don't necessarily look at Bud as having a bad chin just yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Holyfield's been wobbled. Muhammad Ali was wobbled. Guys have been wobbled.
Muhammad Ali got knocked on his ass.
He got dropped and he got wobbled. Holyfield got dropped, got wobbled. I'm trying to think of Marvin Hagler. I don't think he's ever been wobbled. But that he was like a freak, a nature.
Yeah, Hagler was something else.
Yeah,
Hagler was something else. I don't recall him ever getting hurt.
No,
ever.
Jake LaMotta, I think, never went. Oh, he went down once, I think. But he was rocked before. He just, I don't think, went down.
Yeah.
So, I think I was saying before you came in, the will on both of them. That's what we're going to see. I feel like that's what we're going to see. Because the will takes you, and this is from experience, even when you're in there with somebody who might be a couple steps ahead of you, your will is either going to make you be like, well, fuck. I guess, there's just not my night tonight, or fuck that, a la Andre Ward against Sergey Kovalev, the first fight. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna keep going, and that will / mental, whatever you want to call it. Which one of them has a stronger will? And to me, it hasn't been proven that either man is superior to the other one in will.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I think is gonna happen. I don't want to happen. if that makes sense. I want a 12-round classic. I want some controversy because I want a rematch. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the supporter in me. I did tell Bomac, I said, look, man, thank you for getting this done, man. Because this is for the culture of the sport. These are the two best in the game. And they're in their prime and they need to lock horns now. Because we need something to talk about.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We need something to talk about. So I told Bomac, thank you for getting it done. And I told Derrick James, thank you for getting it done. And you notice how there's no more conversation about money.
Well, yeah, everything's signed.
Where'd that topic go? You notice?
Yeah, I mean, everything's signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah. I did say when this shit happens, I said it's going to come out of nowhere and no one's going to be talking about money. I said that a bunch of times.
You know, this fight is going to be what makes this fight so intriguing to everybody is, in my opinion, two things. One thing, you got two power punchers, right? Power punchers who, in all their other fights, at any moment, they could end it. They could put their foot on the gas and the fight could be over, right? You have two guys who are undefeated, and for lack of a small argument, haven't really come close to really losing, right? And then you have the undisputed welterweight championship of the world in the 4-belt era.
Isn't that exciting?
That's because, I'll be honest, Loma and Haney, I wasn't excited because I knew that it's very unlikely that anybody's getting knocked out or even dropped. And I know that might be a little shallow or whatever, but that's the way I am.
I could dig it.
It's exciting when you know somebody could just go down at it. After the first 2 rounds, I'm like, nobody's getting knocked out in this fucking fight. No, this is not happening. So this, though, whew.
I need the supporters of the sport to get excited about this. It means a lot. If your team Errol, that's cool. If your team Bud, that's also cool. You know what I'm saying? And I need y'all to get excited for this fight. I need you guys to support these guys, man. Errol said something very key. First and foremost, I was very impressed with both of them at the presser because when they faced off, they smiled at each other and it was genuine. Now they know they ain't like friends. They're gonna try and knock each other's head off.
It was like a competitive juice, like
yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I looked, and Bud touched the belts, and I said, "Yo, they're gonna give it 110% in here." And I felt, and I have nothing to do with this. I had a sense of accomplishment there for whatever reason. I was like, "Man, this is what I'm talking about. It's done. We're not talking about money no more. We're not talking about splits, all kinds of shit that had nothing to do with us. All the internet, gobbledygook, and because I try to avoid numbers and shit. Like I try to avoid that. I like to talk about the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When I kind of got caught into it, Bud made some decisions, but I said, look, man, we just gotta we gotta keep hope alive, man. Like Jesse Jackson.
This fight is being driven 100% by the talent of the two fighters.
Yep.
We don't have anybody smacking anybody's mother at the weigh-in.
Yeah, man.
We don't have anybody throwing money at people. We don't have it. You don't need any of that. And they're keeping it respectful.
Yes.
Which I think is important because a lot of people trying to get, I guess how the young kids call it today, clout.
Yeah.
Do a lot of shit that has
we know a lot about clout.
Right.
We know a lot about that.
Has nothing to do with boxing. And it's still a sport. And you do your talking in the. Why do you think Mike Tyson? Why do you think George Foreman? Why do you think Sonny Liston were some of the scariest and biggest names in boxing history? Because they didn't talk. Their presence alone drove ticket sales, drove eyeballs, drove fanfare, drove everything. And this has a lot of that. both those guys, just you look at them like, I mean, and Spence, by the way, was funny. I didn't expect him to be as funny as he was.
Yeah, that was.
There was some like playful banter, like playing around with words, big fish, all that, smoking bud, and it's entertaining, but only because you know what's behind it. The certain fighters that a lot of people end up not liking because they talk a lot and then they don't perform up to the level of their mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is not that.
Right. I'm satisfied. And again, I'm picking Errol to win, but I'm not going to be bent out of shape if he loses. You understand what I'm saying? I'm happy that we're here.
Right.
I'm happy that whatever the split is, Bud is fine with it. Errol's fine with it. And I'm glad they're not talking about it.
Right.
I'm glad, because I'm done with that shit. I don't ever want to talk about purse splits. If I could avoid it for every goddamn fight, I'd love to. Yeah. I'm glad they're in the ring and getting it done. I think Errol's going to stop him, but I'm hoping it goes 12 with some controversy. It'll be dope if we go to 12 and Bud's fans is like, nah, Bud won. And Errol's fans like, nah, Errol won. Do it again.
I'm kind of different. I kind of want there to be a clear winner. I don't mind it being close enough where a rematch is.
I don't mind some controversy.
Yeah, I know.
Controversy is good. Controversy is good.
I think we deserve a clear winner, but that doesn't mean that a rematch wouldn't be warranted, even if there's a clear winner. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's damn. Is it July yet? No, it's not. We got a month.
You got a couple more days, man. A couple more days, man.
You going out there for the fight?
Yeah, I already got my ticket and everything.
We got tickets to the fight.
I got them, man. I spent some money. I'll just say that. I spent some money. Shit.
So the flights were also jacked?
As soon I had got a call from a source, and he said, "Get your tickets. It's going to get announced in 3 days." And I said, "Seriously?" He said, "Yes." I booked my flight, and he gave me the dates, and I booked my flight, and boom, announced. And then I went and bought some tickets.
Good thing you was right.
Holy shit. I'm
so
being a hole about 6 racks, but I'm okay.
Oof. One thing I noticed about this fight, it's a weird dynamic I'm starting to pick up. Most boxing fans, right, people who don't fight but are fans, aficionados, boxing purists, are leaning towards Spence. Mm-hmm. But most of the fighters I've spoken to
are leaning towards Bud.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
What does that say? But and by the way, I do polls, right, for my YouTube followers, and my polls get thousands and thousands of responses. So it's a pretty good sample size. Mm-hmm. Pretty good sample size. Mm-hmm. And now I don't know who's responding. Most likely more so fans than actual fighters. 75% 75% Spence. Across every poll I do, who's a harder puncher, who's going to win, whatever it is, Spence.
And again, this isn't no shade to Bud, man. I like Bud. I just don't think he's going to win. I like Bud, man. I think when it comes to fighters, you remember when Errol said he's like the Tim Duncan?
Yeah, the fundamentals.
He's big fundamentals, and Bud is like Kevin Garnett. People, if you got to watch sports to understand what he was saying. Kevin Garnett was more flashy. He was out loud, very vocal on the court. He talked a lot.
I see it. Yeah.
But Tim Duncan got a better job done.
And won way more championships.
Won way more championships. All right. He's a franchise player. The team that drafted him is a team he won with and the team he retired with.
Well, I don't like the comparison because Bud has won. If you want to talk about championships, he's outwon Spence. So that's not the best. It's more like Garnett if he won as many championships or more than Duncan.
I'll say this. Your number one draft pick in the college, NBA. Your number one draft pick. Now you're the number one draft pick. Now you're going to the NBA. You have to perform, right?
Right.
What does it mean? Y'all remember Glenn Robinson, Big Dog Glenn Robinson?
Sure do.
Where is he?
I mean, he'd be retired by now anyway, but yeah, he never really made it.
Never panned out. But if I'm not mistaken, that was the first $100 million contract out of college.
That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first. And back then, that was unheard of. 100 million, Milwaukee drafted him, and he was a monster in college.
Yeah,
he didn't really make any real waves in the NBA.
No,
and, we can go on and on and on. Sam Bowie, we can go on and on and on. You got to perform, and Errol has performed. He did what he said he's going to do. And I'm not saying Bud can't. I'm just saying I get the comparison from what Errol was saying.
Right.
And now Errol has to perform. He said he's going to make it look easy. He has to back up his talk now. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You gotta beat Bud. You gotta beat him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It's a very, I'm not going for either guy, really. Mm-hmm. I don't really care who wins.
No, I really don't. I don't. I pick somebody to win, but I don't really.
I don't care who wins. And this is one of the few fights where I could really say, talk about 50-50. The last couple fights like this, right, that were this even, I would say, and I went to one of them when Roy Jones fought James Toney. That was almost as big as this, almost, because it was so evenly matched. Mm. People don't remember, though, James Toney had almost double the amount of fights at Roy Jones at the time.
He sure did.
Yup, he was that one was real even. Hagler-Hearns was very even. So they fought. Leonard and Hagler wasn't even. They thought Hagler was going to, walk through him.
Yeah.
But I think that am I missing something? And people watching, what's the last fight to be this even? Is it Jones, Toney? Or is it something else?
Now, if I remember correctly, a lot of people where I worked at the time, damn, that was 94. Sheesh. A lot of people was picking James to win.
I know.
People was picking James to win.
I know.
Where I worked at. A lot of people was where I worked at. A lot of people was picking James Toney to win. Let me see. A fight that was close. Let me see. Close. What were the odds on Oscar? A fight that was close. De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad.
Ooh.
Close. What were the odds on Oscar?
Ooh. You just found
De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad.
Ooh. You just found it. That's it. Found it. That's it. I don't know what the odds were, but that was every, because I was deep in it at that point, and I was around a lot of fighters, and everybody went down the middle, and it was
who did you pick to win?
It was a culture thing. I was going for Trinidad because I grew up around Puerto Ricans, as you know.
Okay. Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? I was I wasn't, which is a stupid reason now when I think about it, but so I was going for Trinidad, but I did think Trinidad should have lost, although technically Oscar did give it away. So maybe he shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, I thought Oscar bagged enough rounds, but how he finished the fight was just dumb. Right. It was just dumb.
But that's an example of why boxing can sometimes be unexpected in a bad way. Nobody thought those two bangers would end up fighting a boring ass fight like that. It was mostly Oscar's fault. But because De La Hoya was a bad boy, don't forget.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I tell them, look, man, don't we clown him now for the shenanigans, but make no mistake about it. Oscar, when he was fighting, when he was active, he was bad. He was a bad mofo, man. He was
maybe top 10 greatest welterweights of all time. Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
I'll put him there. Possibly.
Oscar was a fighter.
Ooh, his speed, his power, his movement, his size. So, but that might have been the last fight. That one was really, really anticipated. You know what I mean? That was and you had the Mexican Puerto Rican thing going.
Yeah, that was crazy. Wow. That was out here. When Tito won, when he got his hand raised, I drove down the Grand Concourse. Oh man, they were in the streets waving those flags, boy. Man, it was a sight, man. It was a sight, man.
I was in Arizona at the time, and Arizona has a lot of Mexicans, Chicanos.
Oh,
so
boy.
I remember one of my boys, I was like, yeah. But even in my head, I'm like, even though he won, he probably shouldn't have.
Man, yeah. It was that was tough, man. That was tough, man. But I can't think of any more fights that were down the
Yes.
middle.
My man, King Asia Math, Corrales Mayweather. You know, you might have a point. That
I
wasn't.
think Mayweather was Corrales was the favorite in that fight.
You may have a good. Now, I don't think it wasn't at the level of this because those guys weren't yet household names. And honestly, Bud, and I had this conversation with people. And tell me what you think. And this isn't how I want it to be. This is how I really see it.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a mega fight. Now, what's a mega fight mean though? It's a mega fight to us boxing fans, to us purists. It's beyond a mega fight.
Mm-hmm.
But for the earth, you know, where you walk around, and I guarantee you go outside right now and ask 100 people, do you know who Spence Crawford is? 10% maybe. Top.
Yeah, I
Whereas
get it.
you ask them, you know who Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier is, you know who Mike Tyson, Holyfield. So to me, that's what makes a mega fight because that also draws more money. Mayweather made himself that well known. Pacquiao was that well known. Yeah. There's only been a handful of mega fights, and I don't think this is it. One of them. Do you agree? In terms of popularity and
worldwide variety. Yeah, I got you. I'll agree. If Errol doesn't get that eye injury, and he fought Manny has good enough name value. He'll turn heads wherever he go. Right. And that's why, you know, Errol was so frustrated with that damn eye injury.
You know what? Somebody wrote here, Tyson Holyfield. Tyson Holyfield 2.
Fuck.
What's going on?
There's somebody in a. Fuck is he talking about? Who is that?
Where?
Whatever.
In my thing?
Yeah, somebody in the chat talking about he wants a link or something. I don't know who these niggas are.
Well, it's, anyway, Tyson Holyfield 2 might have been up there. Because now, Tyson Holyfield 1, if you remember, I remember thinking Tyson crush him. Like, because Holyfield just looked really bad against, somebody just fucked him up. I forgot who it was. So I remember being like, Tyson Holyfield 2, though, that was really anticipated. That might have been up there.
It's Mike Tyson though. No matter what he did, he made news. No matter what he did.
That's a good point.
You know, he could have fought a ham and egger, and
that's a good point. But Tyson only had a few mega fights where his dance partner was also Lennox Lewis, Holyfield 2, Spinks at the time.
Yeah,
that might be it. I don't think Holmes, because people thought Holmes was old at the time. They didn't really think Holmes had a shot. Who else besides Spinks, Holyfield, and Lennox? What were the other mega fights? You know, and I say this a lot, and I was a huge Tyson fan, but he lost almost all of his big fights after.
Bro, listen, people hate me when I speak about Mike Tyson. We love him, but
it's the truth though.
When I tell them to break, you know how you shut people up. You ask them when they put Mike on this pedestal, and this is no disrespect to Mike, but this is true. Tell them to name his notable wins, and they'll give you a blank stare. Holmes is not a notable win. It's not. Holmes has already passed it.
I'll have to I think it's a notable win, but it's not, you know, an upper echelon type win.
What is a notable win though? What is his notable wins? Ask a casual. What's his notable wins?
No, his notable wins. I would say Holmes. I would say Spinks. I would say. See, I'm even.
Marco, wait a minute. This fool right here, buckle up boxing talk. He's gay. You have a homosexual in your chat. This guy stalked BFTB for like 3 years. Dude, my dick is reserved for women. Get off my dick. What the fuck?
Well, let's ignore him.
Oh, thank you, bro. Get him the fuck out of here. God damn. I was like, who the fuck is that? He said best of the best. Get out of here, man. Come on. We're talking boxing here, child.
I don't even
Sit back and listen. Jesus Christ, man. My God.
I don't even know what that meant.
My God, what the hell? You see, I can't go nowhere, Marco. I guess I'm a rock star. Jesus Christ. So. Anyway,
so.
boxing, please. Let's
I
go.
guess so.
King Asian Man says Bruno. That was a notable win. Bruno was a notable win.
Was it?
Yeah. I'll give him that. I'll give him Razor Verdict. I'll give him Bruno.
You see,
I'll give him Spinks. But what I'm saying, Marco, is a casual fan won't tell you those names.
What about Franz Botha? Almost, right? I was like wrestling with myself. Does that one count?
I'll give him that.
But it's
I'll give
iffy.
him that.
I agree.
But again, when you ask a casual fan, because what always happens is people will say Mike Tyson will beat every heavyweight active today. That's not true. Well, it's not true.
Mike Tyson till 1989, right? 85 or 84 till 89, I think has a shot of beating anybody ever. That mentality, that Mike Tyson.
Now let me say this. You ask any, and I'm only talking to casual fans because there's a lot of good that Mike did. A lot. But you ask casual fans, name 5 key opponents that made Mike Tyson great, and just look at their face. They can't answer that.
Right.
They can't.
No, I'm with you, and it's something that didn't even hit me till maybe 5-10 years ago. I'm like, wait a second. Because with Tyson was an example of eyeball test. You see the speed and the power he had, and that was, to this day, you don't see shit like that from heavyweights.
No.
You just don't.
No.
And the meanness and that, we were talking before, just like, I'm just going to walk to the ring and I don't have to say anything. He just had a look kind of like, and you were just like, oh,
I'll say this, man. Mike Tyson was special. Mike Tyson was special. I never saw him train live. I know one other guy, well, he's since died, but he saw Mike Tyson live, like train. And when he came back around the way, he said, man, I ain't never seen no shit like that. He said it was like, okay, you see dudes play ball in the street, and it might be that 1 or 2 dudes that was like a step above everybody, like in the court. And then you go watch like people in the NBA play. It's different. They move different. Everything is just different. It's like that. He's like, yo, we in the gym, we watching everyone hit the bag and everything is good. He said, I saw Mike training. He said, man, the way he moves when he's jumping rope, everything is so like perfect. It looked perfect to him. And that Mike Tyson, that was a bad mofo. But back then, I remember telling my friends, and my friends were in the boxing like how I am. And I said, there's a guy at cruiserweight named Evander Holyfield with the flat top. And I said, he specifically said he's coming to heavyweight to beat Mike up, specifically. And my friends laughed at me.
Foreman said that too, you remember?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm coming back. I could beat Tyson because he reminds me of Frazier. Yeah.
Right. Now watch this. Mike gets locked up, right? When he comes out of when he went away, the heavyweight division got very active. You saw guys come up like David Tua, Ike Ibeabuchi was there, Lennox Lewis, Ray Mercer, and it was very, very active. When Mike got out of prison, a lot of my friends will tell me now, they'll say, the younger ones too, like they'll say, hey man, if Mike can get locked up, he beats Holyfield. And I said, that's not necessarily the case, because when Mike went to prison, he was preserved. He wasn't active. When Mike was in prison, Riddick Bowe and Holyfield were going back and forth. Holyfield fought Ray Mercer, Riddick like 3 times.
I agree.
George Foreman. He was busy and he had that heart condition.
Yep. That's why Holyfield was such an underdog, Tyson, the first time, because like you just said, Holyfield looked like shit.
Yeah.
Coming up to that point, and Tyson was just knocking everybody out like usual.
Right.
And I mean, man, I was shocked. Like when I'm talking shocked, like what the fuck? Yeah. Holyfield would just a simple Tyson would 1-2. Holyfield would take 1 step back and counter him with straight right over the top.
He said he was watching his feet. And that's something I never even thought of. He knew what Mike was going to do by looking at his feet. And then when I went back and looked at the tape, I said, "Oh shit!" The punch that the second, what was it, the exchange when Mike got in trouble, Mike ran into that punch. Evander didn't even throw it hard.
Yeah.
And I said, man, he's right. He was watching his goddamn feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, man, I never thought of that.
Timing. That's what Bud just did to Porter.
Yeah.
Came in, Bud took one step back, and then leaned his shoulder forward, and that was it.
Let me get to Bud for a second. It just dawned on me. Bud got a mean fucking uppercut.
Mm-hmm.
Bud got a real mean uppercut. And if he can get on the inside and catch Errol snoozing, that could be very interesting. Bud got a mean uppercut. Very mean. But he got to get in there, and it's going to be dangerous in there. But back to Mike. Evander was just timing that guy. And by then, after Evander did that, I think that was a fight. It's weird. That was the fight that took away the aura of invincibility from Mike. That was the fight.
Right. Yeah, it was.
That's what that was.
That's what fully took it out. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't the Buster Douglas loss because people were capping for Mike when he lost.
Right.
They said it was a long count.
Oh, lots of bullshit.
It was okay. It was a long count, but Mike was getting his ass whooped.
He was getting fucked up. Fucked up.
Yeah. And here's the funny part that no one notices. He never ran it back. Because at the end of the day, let me give y'all some measurements. James Buster Douglas was about 6'5". All right. He had like an 80-some-odd inch reach, and he was in shape for that fight. His mama had died, and he was on all cylinders. And that jab was giving Mike a lot of fits. Now, I know Mike had problems in his corner. I know that. But he's a professional. All right.
I just saw an interview of Douglas talking about why he didn't rematch Mike and went to Holyfield. And it wasn't what everybody thinks. It was something along the lines of Don King, some shit. It wasn't that he didn't want. I always thought he didn't want to give it.
I'm sorry, Marco. That same clown came back. Look at him.
Well, look, I got to jump off in a second anyway, so let me finish my thought.
Go ahead, bro.
Let's just ignore him. But
Homo.
finish my thought was James didn't avoid Tyson. I thought that he didn't want to take the fight. I thought he was just like, let me fight Holyfield. It wasn't that. He wanted to fight Tyson, but I forget what it was. Maybe somebody watching remembers. There was some reason why it didn't happen. But it wasn't out of James. Well, I thought James was like, fuck this. I'm not fighting this guy again.
Right. James was game, you know. James had some mental things going on, of course. You know, he ballooned up and almost killed himself and everything else. But, it's a sad state of affairs. But I always wondered why Mike can't run that back. You know?
Me too. It never happened.
Yeah, so Mike wasn't the Terminator like everyone thought. And the reason why Holyfield beat him, I don't think had anything to do with him in prison or anything like that. He was well preserved because Evander was taking some shots while Mike was with the Nation of Islam in prison. Evander was out fighting Ray Mercer and Riddick Bowe 3 times and got stopped. Right. You understand? And fighting George Foreman. He was busy, man.
Yeah.
So he's with a heart murmur and everything else. He comes out and then, you know, I remember my friends telling me, oh, he's going to punch Evander in the chest and give him a heart attack. I'm like, he's going to knock Mike out.
Yeah.
And they laughed. I said, he's going to knock Mike out. And that's what happened. He stopped him. So it is what it is. That was crazy. But back to Bud and Errol, I want a great fight. I'm picking Errol, but I want a great fight. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't give a fuck who wins. I'm happy for Bud. And again, if you're a boxing fanatic, like most of us are, and I don't like using that term fanatic, but fan is short for fanatic.
Support it.
Right. We need to rejoice and we need to be high-fiving.
Absolutely.
And friendly trash talk is fair game at this point. It's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay. If you're Team Bud, I don't want to take over your chat, but if you're Team Bud, press 1 in the chat, man. If you're Team Bud, it's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good, man. I want a great fight, man. I'm gonna be out there. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to get to Vegas, man. I'm gonna get a lot of footage.
Yep.
Man, and if Bud win, he win. That's going to be
Yep.
dope. If Errol win, he win. It's going to be dope. I want them to get 2 paydays out of this. These brothers deserve it. This is going to be dope. If your team Bud, stand up. If your team Errol, stand up, man. This right here is for the culture. This is Hagler Hearns. This is Hearns Leonard. This is Hearns Hagler Leonard. This it's cool to be split. This is what we want. This is what we want, and we just need to rejoice and just high five each other and just talk. That's all it is, man. This is dope, man.
Absolutely. Hey, man. Thank you for joining me. Let's do it again soon.
No doubt, man.
Peace.
Block that homo. That shit is crazy. All right, Mark, I'll holler at you, brother. Later.
Hey guys, please subscribe and smash that like button. And if there's any fighters you want us to interview or anything else, any questions or comments, hit us up. We're here for you.